Hi, everyone, and welcome to Studio Jake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it whenever you tune in. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, tell me what you think, because we have kind of a hot topic today. It's a lot of fun. I love talking about Disney. On this vidcast, I cover all sorts of things pop culture, whether that be movies, film, anime, whatever it is. And Disney is the gift that keeps on giving. Before we get into that, I write novels. I've got a paranormal novel called Cacophony. You can get a copy of it on Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. I also have a fantasy series. So this is part one and part two of a trilogy I'm writing, and it's about a group of your favorite fairy tale characters who have to rally together to save their homeland from an evil mage. So, great stuff. You're probably going to want to check those out. I don't just complain about pop culture, I try to do something about it. And man, do we need creatives. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. So, Disney, they are continuing to ruin their legacy with these live action remakes of their famous animated shows. So there was like a 90s and early 2000s version of 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil. That one was fine. I thought the Lady and the Tramp one was okay. Cinderella was the best one of the group. Well, then Disney kind of started to go off the rails a little bit. So then we saw Beauty and the Beast, which, could have just been a commercial for, now, or, we saw Cruella, where they just basically took Harley Quinn and put her in a 101 Dalmatian scenario. And of course, race swapped several characters. And of course, they have to make Cruella feel sympathetic. And they did that with Maleficent too, right? We've got to make the bad guys, Maleficent, whose name literally means pure evil in the dictionary. We have to make her sympathetic because she's a wham and played by Angelina Jolie. Well, they're doing it again with their new Peter Pan. So they've already screwed up Peter Pan. Now, everyone kind of knows this backstory of Peter Pan. I talked about this in my review of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers live action remake, which was terrible, where Peter Pan, spoiler alert, was the villain in that one. It was him grown up and fat for some reason, and they made him the bad guy because they said Disney had rejected him once he kind of got out of Neverland. And so he kind of made a career of doing bootleg Disney movies. Well, in they're trying to go for more of a Roger Rabbit attitude as opposed to a Chip and Dale one. It was really a terrible movie. And they're doing this again with this Disney Plus live action remake called Peter Pan and Wendy. And it's so funny because it's right off the bat, they're going to shove it in your face. It's not about good storytelling. It's about diversity and inclusion and social justice. So when Wendy washes up on the shores of Neverland, she's greeted by the Lost Boys, who are made up of now girls. And it's just like, what are you doing? Peter Pan was a story about never-ending adolescence, about this idea that you don't want to grow up, that you want to hold on to your childhood. And it's something we can all relate to. And that's why Wendy was sort of represented. She was a girl who was kind of being forced to grow up too soon. And that's why Peter Pan was attached to her in this way. Was he says, hey, you don't want to grow up, I'll take you to a place where you could never grow up. And that's why the majority of the outcasts there of the Lost Boys were boys, because that does tend to be a male thing. Men, we like to hold on, as you can see, we kind of like to hold on to parts of our adolescence because that's tend to be where we have, the best memories of friends. Most of our best friends were we still talk about our high school friends. My best friend is still my friend from high school, right? It's just how it goes. And now they're making it where it's not about that. It's like, oh, we're going to make some of the Lost Boys girls because of diversity, because of inclusion. Oh my gosh. I would love to know the CW writer that they hired who came up with this idea, and I hope he gets fired, or probably Zur gets fired after this, because it's just incredible propaganda on Disney. And of course, we're going to race swap Peter Pan, we're going to race swap Tinkerbell, and going to turn this into some bizarre narrative. And they do this because I honestly think these movie companies, they don't give a crap about diversity and inclusion. Of course they don't, because if they did, they would just make original projects with these characters of these backgrounds. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they're not doing that because social justice, this idea of equity, if you pursue those as goals instead of liberty and freedom and imagination and creativity, if you pursue those things, you're creatively bankrupt. There's no place to go with it because everything has to be on a checklist as opposed to creativity. And that's what this Peter Pan and Wendy remake is. It's just them doing more changes, more. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to find out some of the pirates are, closeted homosexuals, and that Peter Pan, he's really the only straight white male on there. He's got to be the bad guy, right? It's got to always be a straight white male. It's just so ridiculous, and it's so transparent. And honestly, like I said, Disney does not give a crap about any community outside of the one that's in the Scrooge McDuck vault. They don't. The reason they're doing this is because it gives them shields. So when you say, hey, why are you changing Tinkerbell? Hey, why are you changing Peter Pan? Hey, why are you changing the orientation of this character? They can say, oh, what, you don't like this a person of this ethnicity, you don't like a person of this orientation? Of course, that's why they're doing it. It's just a shield against their own creative bankruptcy. We saw this in the Proud Family, right? So the Proud Family can't just be an anti-bullying show anymore. It's got to be, oh no, we're going to incorporate ahistorical things from that some bloggers came up with. We're going to throw that in. We're going to put in the dumb chants. We're going to have them find a secret conspiracy about the town. We're going to make a character who we're going to add a new character who challenges the other ones based in their inclusivity. And it's just so transparent that Disney at this point, they're not interested in making money. They're only interested in spreading that Hollywood socialist idea, this Marxist utopia that's not really a utopia, right? A utopia is not where you get lectured about privilege or your lack of diversity. In fact, it's pushing an ignorance of what it looks like for people to come together. And it's such a shame because Disney always was sort of a diverse company, right? They were doing films like Aladdin or Pocahontas or, whatever it may be. And listen, I know that there are some culturally insensitive things in some of their earlier films. I get that. And, but they exist, and that's just how it is and how it was, and we have to move on from that. We can make things better, but doing this sort of forced, hey, we know this character, the Little Mermaid, we know that the mermaid is based on a Danish folklore tale, and that the legend is primarily of that sort of descent, but hey, we're going to race swap her, and we're going to add a whole bunch of socialist radical feminism nonsense into it, because that's all Disney has. They're completely creatively bankrupt. They fired all their good animators, they fired all their good storytellers, or chased them away, and so they're stuck with these weirdos that they found on Tumblr, or working in soap operas, or they were just like I said, on that right spot on the checklist, and they hired all of them, and it's really damaging their brand, and it's hurting their brand. So now they have to almost double down on it to say to use it as a shield. They're taking advantage of these weirdos on social media who propagate this sort of nonsense, so they don't have to. So if you point out, hey, you're creatively bankrupt here, this just race swapping or gender swapping characters, that's not good story in itself. You should do something about this. They can say, oh, you don't like black people. And that's exactly what they are doing. That's what's been going on. They're hiding behind their bankrupt creativity to push this, and it's so transparent, and it's so silly, and it's so evident in this Peter Pan and Wendy trailer that they have no interest in honoring the legacy of Peter Pan. They certainly didn't back in the day when Peter Pan, the voice actor who voiced Peter Pan, when he got too old to do the character, they threw him out on the streets. Disney has been doing this. Look it up. It's a true story. They abandoned him. And that's why it was so offensive how they portrayed Peter Pan in Chippendale Rescue Rangers. It was just awful. It was pandering, because that's all this really is. And they're going to find out. I mean, they got rid of Bob Chapek, who was like trying to stabilize it somewhat, though I'm not totally convinced he was on our side like some people are, but they got rid of him. Bob Iger is back, but he's not going to right the ship. He's the one who started all this. Say what you want to about Michael Eisner. He made some pretty bad decisions, but he always maintained Disney's sort of integrity as storytellers. Now, he did deliver some lame stories, but never to this level where it's just pandering to weirdos on Twitter who probably don't even watch Disney movies, right? That's one thing I'm discovering. If these things were as popular as Disney says they are, or people on social media say they are, these movies would be generating subscribers. They would be generating funds, but we're seeing that that's not the case. These woke products, the sort of hypersensitivity, the shoving of these socialist values down your throat are failing, and that's a good thing. And we're seeing it fail on Peter and Wendy as well, just based on the reaction of the trailer. No one is happy with it, and I don't think anyone will be happy with it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment and tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to StudioJake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.